Hi folks, Debbie Ray here, the gardener wife. I'm taking advantage of an unseasonably warm December day. We're close to 50 here. So I'm outside and I'm going to show you how my garden style winter decorations have turned out for this year. We'll start with this main container in the front yard. This is the first one I did. I made it on the day after Thanksgiving, after I went to Black Friday sales and got fresh greenery and wreaths. And so I put this together then. It has already been through one snowstorm, and it did topple a little bit in that, so I rearranged it and I added some support to the back, some bricks, and a bit of metal edging. That's a trick I used to use when I didn't start containers until the soil was already frozen solid. Now I know better. I usually dig a hole in there when it's still soft, and then I can drop a pot that's arranged into it or add potting soil and build the container in there. So that's the first thing I did. The last thing that I've done, my final thing, is the front door wreath. I usually use boxwood, but I waited too long and went to 3 places. They all were already sold out. So this is one of the 3 Fraser fir wreaths that I bought on Black Friday. And I had this one hanging in the deck, just plain and with that red bow that they come with. But I've moved it to the front, and all these bows and berries and cones that you see on my decorations are things I have saved from past wreaths. So when I do fresh wreaths, I save money by buying, a cheap plain wreath and decorating it myself. And very easy to do if you just save these things from year to year. My theory is that it's best to spend the money for fresh things, greenery and wreaths, where they're placed where people will see them. Like this is what you see right when you come up to my front door. But things that are farther away, no one's going to get close enough to see if it's real or not. So this wreath that's on the bistro set is a fake one. It's one of 2 that a friend of mine just gave me. So the other one is now on my back deck, and I'll show you that later. And so I'm using this as wreath with a lantern in the middle and a bow to be the centerpiece on this bistro table. And I always have a berry wreath here on the chair because I like how it looks with the filigree metal behind it. These garden statues are usually in my kitchen garden in the summer, but for the winter I dress them up in these hats and mittens that my husband's grandmother made for our children when they were little. So this is a pretty cool way to keep and display these treasures from year to year. Here's another set on the chair. And I like to put a sled out that has greenery swag with a bow and old mittens. These containers are just filled with pine cones. Why not? The terrarium, you can't put live plants out here, so I just put pine cones and berries inside. And the wicker chair planter has what used to be the centerpiece on my bistro set for many years. That basket, greenery and little cardinals in it. I added a log to this planter there. So that's all these things on the front porch stoop. As you know, if you've got my newsletter, I don't use Christmas lights. So it's good to have these pops of red They show up very well at night when the porch lights are on. One thing I did different this year is the wreath on the bench. I usually buy a fresh candle wreath, and but I found this old last year's deck wreath in the garage, dried and still decorated, so I just put it here and I'm done. I don't have to buy a candle wreath now. I don't like the look as much, and maybe I'll look for a good quality fake candle wreath to use in future years, but it's natural and easy. I put pine cones wherever I need something. I'll fill a container, planter thing. So I'll show you more when we get to the back. So this entrance to our yard is not visible to most people during the winter. Our garage is behind the house, and only family sees this as we come and go from the garage. So again, that's another good place to put a fake wreath. Why spend money? And it gives it a nice seasonal look. But I'll give you a close-up. Usually people don't see these close-up, but you can see for something that's going to be exposed to the elements like this wreath, I just leave that plain red bow that the fresh wreaths usually come in. Otherwise, for porch and under the soffit on the deck, I replace it with a prettier bow. And this is how our deck looks from the wrong side. I arrange the containers and decorations to be viewed from our kitchen door and window because we're usually not out here in the wintertime. So this is the angle that you usually get to see when I take pictures of my deck containers. And here are the details. This is my favorite container. It has one of those Fraser fir wreaths laid across it, a bowling ball in the middle, some branches from my red twig dogwood, and pine cones. All that is inside a sphere made from rusty barrel hoops. Isn't that cool? I love this. This is my favorite. I started this in the fall. I had a pumpkin in the middle. So I think you'll be seeing this on my deck in future years too. Here is the main container in the back, and I've continued that rusted theme from the sphere to these snowflake stakes that I got a few years ago at a craft show. And I place these arrangements. I'm trying to block the view of our fire pit because its winter cover is not very attractive. So that's part of the reason for doing my containers like this. I have one more to the side here. This is a smaller one, and I had not planned to do it, so I did not prepare the pot by digging a hole in the middle, so this was frozen solid when I did it. And again, it's still easy to do an arrangement. I start with that wreath across the top. I've removed the red bow that came with the wreath, and then I add, here we go, more rust, one of my lanterns, and I prop up some fresh greenery and a berry branch, and there you have it. I now have 1, 2, 3 containers, making the deck look good. In years past, I have used a lot of galvanized metal ornaments, so I only have a few out this year. I've stuck a few into the other wreath. Again, my theory on the wreaths is that if you're not going to see them up close, and you usually don't see this one up close, you see it from back where I was by my kitchen door, then it's okay to use a fake wreath, especially a nice quality one like this that looks good from a distance. And I got these candle stands this summer at a garage sale, and so for the winter they're just filled with greenery and pine cones. I also put my bird houses out here, and I did collect more galvanized metal this summer. I was planning to stand these up kind of to look like a tree, but instead of using it closer in with the other containers, I've moved it to the back of the deck. And back here by the door to our kitchen is the newest thing. This is a very cool antique stove that my sister gave me. And in the summer I had geraniums, I think, in these pots. So a couple days ago I filled these coffee pots with fresh greenery and some berry branches, and that looks super cool here. And it's in a fairly sheltered part of the deck right next to the door. Well, I hope I've given you some good ideas for your own winter containers. Let me know, and thank you for watching.